Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. My name is Angela Martin. I'm a Go Consultant. I will be taking you through a deep dive in VAX. So this is for Team Cosmopolitan, but of course, any agent that finds this useful, I hope it is beneficial. A little bit about what we'll be covering today are these things here. So here's our agenda. We are going to be looking at the different suppliers, just a little bit briefly, just to cover a few of the top ones that you can use. Looking at your filtering options, how to easily locate the hotels or resorts that you're looking for. What if you're doing a multi-destination planning or quote for a client? I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to make a reservation before you actually take payment for the deposit. There is a way to do that in VAX, so you can go ahead and secure your clients' rates that you found. And then I'm going to talk about the benefits of utilizing the booking administration as well as the payment link for your busy clients. We're going to learn how to save, retrieve, email, and print the itinerary. These are so essential as you are booking your clients' trips. So just 1 second as I take us to our next step. I'm going to actually get here and go log into VAX. So we know that we go to VAX Vacation Access, okay? And I'm going to stop sharing my screen at this moment so that I can log in to VAX without you seeing my personal information. All right. Now I'm going to reshare my screen. So now that you can see what we have here. So VAX, let's talk about the suppliers first, okay? So of course we have, you'll see American Airlines Vacations, but just to let you know, American Airlines Vacations doesn't work in VAX anymore. For some reason, they could not get it together. So you have to go to American Airlines Vacations separately, okay? But you have ALG, Apple Vacations, Blue Sky Tours, FunJet, and the list goes on and on. I'm going to talk about a couple of them here, okay? Apple Vacations and FunJet Vacations are pretty much the same thing, okay? You'll find pretty much the same prices, same options, all of those good things on there. These are good for clients who are looking for destinations in the Caribbean or Mexico or things like that, all-inclusives. Those are great for that. Now, you can find other options, but you're going to really find a lot of Caribbean options and things like that. You will also find Blue Sky Tours Hawaii to be very beneficial for your clients looking to go to Hawaii, since they specialize, or that is the name of their site, or that supplier being Blue Sky Tours Hawaii. They can offer you a lot of great deals for Hawaii type of quotes that you need. Now, of course, you have Southwest Vacations. Another great one to use that I've learned is Travel Impressions. They have a very high commission rate, and you can find just about anything on there. If you have a client looking to go to a very exotic place, you might have to do some fishing around, but you want to start maybe in Travel Impressions or Travel and Leisure Go, so that you can find those very exotic places, kind of like a Tanzania or something of that nature. If you have a client looking to stay at Universal Resorts, of course, you can always come in here and set up their Universal package, okay? Now that we've gone over suppliers, the next thing that I want to cover are your filtering options. So I'm going to go ahead and select on one of my favorites, which is FunJet, okay? I'm a little bit biased here, but you can use any of them. But for demonstration purposes, we're going to go with VAX, okay? Notice that and before I move on to the filtering options, I want to talk about the packages that you can choose. We all know that we can book a flight and hotel. Typically, that's what you're going to be doing if you're doing a package option for a client, okay? But you have so many other options here: flight, hotel, plus transfers in the Mexican Caribbean. Just look at your drop-down menu and see what options you have, okay? So you got ski hotel only. I didn't even notice that. That's a very good thing, okay? Hotel plus car. Maybe they don't need a flight. Maybe they're going to be using their points for their flight and they just need the hotel, but they also need a rental car. Activities only, okay? Flight only. Hotel only package plus Mexican or Caribbean transfers. I'm assuming that's what that is. Hotel only. So just play around with it. Get familiar with your your different suppliers and vendors, okay? I like VAX because it's a kind of a one-stop shop for everything. All right, so let's say, for instance, we have a client leaving from Orlando going to Cancun, okay? Maybe they want to go on a trip for their child's birthday or some other thing like that. I told you that VAX, FunJet is very good for looking up destinations in the Caribbean and in Mexico. So I'm going to click on Cancun and the Riviera Maya. Maybe they have 2 children, both under the age of 12. And we know that the age of 12 is like that cutoff age before they are charged as adults for flights and things. So be mindful of that, just in case you didn't know. Once you select the number of adults and children, be mindful that the ages of the children must be the ages that they will be at the time of travel. So always when you're asking and you're qualifying your client, always make sure that you're asking, what are the ages of the children at the time of travel? Okay, not what their current age is, because they could be looking to book it, getting a quote from you in December, but looking to take the trip in June. So the children may be a different age at that time. All right. If they are booking an infant, what you select is IN here, which is short for infant. But basically that just lets them know that the child will be in one seat with an adult and they will not need their own separate seating. Okay. Now, another thing, we have to select, obviously, the departure date. If you know how many days they want to travel, you can easily put that here after you put in the departure date, so you don't have to figure out what the end date. But say, for instance, I'm just going to go into June here and say we have a June 8th and they want to stay for 5 days. I can easily put that in and I know exactly when they're going to get back. Another pro tip, always add the travel protection with all of your bookings, okay? Don't even give the client an option to deny the travel protection. That's something that comes on the back end after you let them know all of the great things that are included in the package you provided to them. So you'll click search. And as this is searching, the first thing that is going to come up are all of your hotel options. This is where filtering really comes into play. Because with filtering, what you can do is you can figure out, okay, if you know that your client wants a beachfront resort, okay, you know then that you need to select beach over here. So all of these are your filtering options in the left-hand side. You can even filter by the hotel name. If you know that there's a hotel your client has been looking at, you can search by the hotel name as well, okay? Maybe you know that your client prefers a 4-star or higher type of resort or a room or hotel. You can select that to weed out anything below a 4-star rating, okay? So you can select 4-star and 5-star because, of course, 5-star is a higher rating than a 4-star. Now, for instance, if they need some children amenities, maybe they're going with their children, they want to make sure it's family oriented, okay? Maybe you got a client that wants adults only. They don't want to be around children at all, okay? Hello. You can select that as well. But for me, since I specialize in all-inclusives, most of the time I'm coming in and I'm doing an all-inclusive selection. I want to make sure my clients are on the beach, okay? And then another thing that you can look, since you focus, one of my focuses is on weddings and romance and things like that, I also will check this box or wedding to make sure that they have those services for my clients who are looking to do a vow renewal or destination wedding or whatever the case may be. But you can notice if your client is looking for nightlife as you're qualifying them, what are you looking to do while you're there? I've had a client that was even interested in going diving, okay? They were divers, so they wanted to stay somewhere where they could have good diving experiences. Whatever the case is, make sure you're utilizing this. That way you're narrowing down your results and you're not just sifting through pages and pages of results, okay? Now, maybe they want to stay at a certain point or near a certain place. You can easily also select by points of interest, okay, for the client. And that is another way that you can sort. Now, another great thing, maybe if you have clients who are, and that's a way to filter, I'm sorry. Maybe you have clients who are on a budget, okay? So what you can do is you can go and search these results that you've populated from your filtering, and you can put them in order from lowest to highest price, closest to the airport, okay? The rating, highest to lowest, okay? whatever you want to do, you can do it here, okay? This is a sorting feature. From the things that you filtered over here, you weeded out certain hotels. Now is a good way to sort so that your results are listed in the order of importance to you. So I'm going to go from, I like to look, let's just say we have a client that's on a budget, just for demonstration purposes, okay? I'll notice that all of the ones that pop up are all going to be 4-star, no matter whether or not I'm getting the cheapest rate or not. They're all going to be 4-star. But one of the great things that you can do when you're in VAX is to click on the property itself. Of course, you want to kind of go through the pictures and see if this is a nice resort. After I look through the photos, the very next thing, and sometimes the first thing that I do is I go to the TripAdvisor reviews, okay? If I see that they have a lot of good, anywhere from 4s and 5s up to, you know, maybe 1, 3 or so, then I know that this is probably a pretty good, decent hotel that I can send my clients to without them having any issues. Always, always, always check the TripAdvisor reviews before sending a client there. So say, for instance, we got them here. Next thing you want to do is you want to click on the rooms, because maybe your client doesn't want just a junior suite, or maybe they want a beach front or an ocean front, and they don't have this available. So now I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out a hotel that does. So of course, this is the part of that research process, okay? So I'm just going to scroll down to a couple of them. For those of you who have completed the Grand Oasis or the Oasis training, notice that this Grand Oasis in Cancun, this is one of their properties, including the Grand Oasis here, okay? So maybe I've sent a client to the Catalonia Riviera Maya. I really like that they have a honeymoon suite for guests. So again, this one doesn't have TripAdvisor reviews tab. You'll notice that. So what you'll have to do is you'll type in the name or copy the name of the resort. You'll then go to Google and you will paste that name into the Google results. And what you'll do is you'll then go and take a look at the TripAdvisor reviews, okay? So if they do not have a TripAdvisor review tab, you can always take a look at the reviews, okay? So then you get the reviews, you see what they're about, okay? And you can kind of go through there. Now, this is trying to get me to do all of this other stuff that I'm not looking to do for this video. So let's just get that there, okay? But anyway, you get the idea, okay? So you get to read these. Of course, these are subjective, so you have to be able to read between the real and the people who are just being very, very picky. I'll say that, okay? So just read through that and see if that's something that your clients may need. Next thing, after you've decided on that, you want to again select the room. So of course, this has a comfort room, but that comes free. But you can scroll through all of the room options, okay? Privileged, premium, deluxe room. Now, I don't see, they have a family suite, privileged suite, privileged family suite. You'll notice that it adds $531.65 to the cost of the actual whatever. Since we have a family, I'm going to select this one because maybe they said that, hey, they need something that's going to be large enough for their entire family. So I'm going to go here and go ahead and select that. Okay, while my computer is thinking that it wants to click on this option. I guess it doesn't want to. Oh, let me show you the privileged. I just saw it. Privileged romance suite. Maybe it's unavailable. It's one of their rooms that's unavailable here. Privileged romance. See, they have one of these, or I think I had the privileged romance deluxe. So that was really nice for my clients. They really enjoyed it. A lot of attention to detail and things like that. But I'm going ahead and try to select this. Maybe I'll select on this option. I'm not really sure why this is not allowing me to click on it. So let me just exit out and come back in. Sometimes it's tricky like that. You have to be careful with VAX. It will do some strange things from here and there from time to time. So as we're waiting for this to load back up, thank you, VAX. Let's go back and select our room. Privileged suite, we want the family suite. So we're gonna select that. I tried, but it's okay. Anyway, all right, so let's go with something else. I'm not really sure why this isn't allowing me to. Give me 1 second. Let me just select the comfort and see if that's what's going on. It's just, you know, it could be that I have a million tabs open. Let's see if that's the problem. We'll close out some of these. All right. Let's see. Oh, see? Now it's moving. I think I had too much stuff going on, okay? After you select the hotel in the room, okay, or the resort in the room, you'll notice that it will have next your flight options, okay? Here's a pro tip. Never get your clients to the resort too late, especially when they're only staying for less than 7 days, okay? You want to get them there before their room is open, so they have plenty of travel time. They have plenty of time to comfortably go to baggage claim, collect their things, and then go to their transportation services that will be provided for them. This seems like a very good option because, one, they only have a very short layover in Cleveland, and then they'll be going to Cancun. So, and they're arriving around 11:50 a.m., okay? Now, sometimes your client may want only nonstop flights. That's where your filtering options come into play. Maybe you have a client who needs to arrive in the afternoon, or they want to arrive, they want to depart early morning. You can easily filter out the things that your client wants. Maybe they have a specific airline that they want to use. You can filter out the airline as well, okay? So be mindful of all of the things that really help you navigate your options easier. But for demonstration purposes, I am going to go with this first option. All right, and I noticed that they have a nonstop flight leaving from Cancun on those dates at wonderful times, okay, after checkout, but not too much further after checkout, meaning my clients don't have to get up super early in the morning, and then they make it back home without having to stop on their way back, because they'll be good and tired and ready to just get back home. So that is a great option for my clients. Now, what I really love about that is that it automatically adds, most of the time, okay, it automatically adds your clients' transfers to and from their hotel, from the airport to their hotel and back, okay? So you'll notice that that'll be here, okay? And since the transportation services typically, you know, charge all people the same amount, you'll notice it say 4 adults here. Don't think that you have 4 adults, because you do have children, and you can see that. You'll also notice, because I pre-selected travel protection, that is already here, okay, for the adults and for the children. All right, and then they give you a couple of other things that you need to know. And you kind of want to read those advisories that they give, because they're kind of important, okay, sometimes. But after you do that, what do you do next? Say, for instance, I know that this is going to be one of the quotes that I send to my client. The very next thing that I do, and that I suggest that you do, so that you don't lose this option and have to start all over from scratch, is to save the itinerary, okay? Save the itinerary under the client's name. And then I like to put in the resort. And then I like to put in the dates. So we have June 8th through 13th, 2023. And you might notice that this symbol, it might not let it go. So I'm just going to go ahead and put and. After you do that, you simply hit enter, and it will save the itinerary for you. Why is this important? So when your client does, and just to let you know, okay, when you do save the itinerary, you can log out of VAX, go do something else, or you can find another option. Say, for instance, I really like the flight options. That's good. maybe I want to go ahead, for me, since I no longer use this feature, but is in terms of emailing clients, unless they just need some additional options, this is a way that you can email your clients. So you can put in there, of course, their email address, but as a rule of thumb, I highly recommend that you also add yourself as a recipient. The reason I say that is because we can easily mistype the client's name here or their email address that they provided. But if we email ourselves and get the correct email from our clients, we can just forward it from our business email to the client, okay? In this part, I like to put client's name, vacation quote 1, and again, I like to put the travel dates. I'll paste that, and then I will go over to correct these travel dates. So we have June 8th through the 13th, 2023. Great. The next thing you want to be mindful of is that this is going to have a very generic little thing here. I always take out and customize this portion for my clients. A good thing to do and a good thing to get in the habit of doing is to always customize your stuff as much as possible and put your stamp on it. That really sets you apart from other agents who may be giving out quotes. So while, you know, sending an email this way is a great way, especially before you have any other software like a TravelJoy or Travefy, this is a great option. But if you are going to be using this option, make sure that you know that other agents who do not have any software to set them apart will be using it too. So you want to customize it. Hi, client's name. I have located several great options for your upcoming trip. Option 1 is at, and I put the name of the resort again, in a privileged, I can never spell privileged, privileged family suite. And then this is what, after I put that, the name of the hotel and the type of room they have, I also then go to the next thing. Your package includes round trip flights, round trip transportation to and from your resort, cancel for any reason, travel protection. And I always use something that really boosts up the type of amenities, and incredible, all-inclusive amenities. And then, of course, I keep the all prices listed may be subject to change because that's very important that they know that. The next thing that I will probably point out for them is if they are, say, for instance, it's a couple or some friends going on a trip together and they need to split the cost, I will put the price per person next or something. The total price per person is X, Y, and Z. And that information, just so you know, is going to be listed under the total package price in VAX. So if you look at the total, that's going to be in green. Right underneath it, it tells you how much it is per person. Because we as travel agents, a lot of the times we work with people who are paying individually. So they need to know how much is it going to cost per person. Okay. All right. So in this case, since it's a family, I'm not going to do a per person price. Instead, I'm going to say, just remind them the deposit and final payment date, final payment due date are listed below for your review. Please let me know if you have any questions or need assistance navigating this quote. Kind regards, that's my little thing, Angela Martin, certified travel advisor. Info, this is where I give them my personal email address, my business email address. concierge.com. I give them my website because in case they're sharing this with anybody else, they'll have my information as well. And again, this is branding yourself at every chance that you get, even before you have access to things like Travefy and Travel Joy. Okay, so I can easily put that. Couple of things that you can do. So the first thing that I recommend, if you are using Travefy or Travel Joy, one of the things that I do, I know a couple of agents, they don't like to put the actual dates and let their clients see what the dates are, but I don't have a problem with it. So I'll go to preview and I'll print it out. Okay. Usually if I'm going to be doing something in Travefy, which is the one I use, I do not go in, put a letter here or a explanation other than all prices listed may be subject to change until payment is received, and I might break it down per person if I have a group going. Okay, so the first option you have is to print it, and the thing about it is you don't have to print it obviously from a computer, but you want to save it as a PDF to your computer. That way you can you want to save it as a PDF, but then you want to paste that vacation quote, the subject line that you had for the vacation. You want to use that as well. And so I'm just going to put "and" here because I know that's probably going to, yeah. All right, so I'm going to save that. All right, the next thing you can do is you can go ahead and email it if I were to put in an email address, but that's that. Okay, now what if you have a client, and I'm going to go back here, I'm not sure how much time I have left, but I know I'm on the free Zoom account, so it will only give me about a 30 to 40 minute window of training. So the next thing you can do, say for instance, you have a client and they want to go to Cancun, but they have someone who is traveling from another place and want to meet them in Orlando. Maybe they're coming from Atlanta and want to depart from Atlanta, then to Orlando before they get to Cancun because they're going to be going, they want to be on the same flight. Whatever the case may be, you can do that by using multiple destinations. So for their friend, in order to get them a quote, which you don't have to do that, they can always just travel directly to the place. But in case they want to fly with their friends, just so you know, you can do that. Okay, now you'll notice that when you are in here, it's just going to say hotel only. It kind of defaults to that. So you need to go and select the option that says Hawaii, US, Mexico, Caribbean, flight plus hotel in order to get both the flight and hotel options. So say we have the same family and they're the ones who need to travel from both places. So maybe they're departing from Atlanta. Okay. Now I'm going to pre-select add travel protection. Sometimes that doesn't come up, but I'm going to show you what I can do. So again, we know that their travel dates are June 8th through the 13th. Now notice how it says going to here and it has number of nights pre-selected, that it usually defaults to 3. But because they will not be staying at the first place overnight, I'm going to put this as 0. And I'm going to put here that they're going to Orlando. Okay. They will not need a hotel or a rental car at this location. So then I move on. So I know that in June 8th, they're also looking for a flight to go from Orlando to Cancun. And hopefully this will work out where we can find them. And then they're going for 5 nights. They will not need a rental car, but they will need the flight and the hotel. And they are going to be returning to Atlanta this time, going home to Atlanta, not going to Orlando, because this time they're going home. Okay. I can search for that. Okay. I can search for that by going here. Now, when you do it this way with multiple destinations, okay, you have to make sure you put in 0 for the number of days, unless they are going to be stopping at multiple places and staying there for a couple of days. Change it to 0 if they simply want to need a flight. You'll notice that up here it's going to say there is no travel protection available for the property you have selected. That's because when you're doing a multiple destination, sometimes it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work so well. So let's say, for instance, oh goodness, we find them a great flight arriving at 11:35. I think that other flight leaves at 12 something. That might be pushing it. Even though it's a nonstop flight, they get there at 11:30, something could be delayed or anything like that. So we don't want that to happen. But say, for instance, we got them this flight where they get there super early in the morning. They have plenty of time to rest. Even if the flight is delayed, they can get there so that they can fly with their friends. It's nonstop flight. Perfect. Okay. Select. And I had to do this for a client who had family members who were trying to fly. They were all trying to go to Puerto Rico. And, excuse me. And they were unable to. Okay. So I think this is that flight here. This is the one. I don't know, because I don't think it was a nonstop flight that we found. Maybe it was. But let's say we're going to get them on this nonstop flight from Orlando to Cancun, and that timing looks about right. So say, for instance, let's pretend like this is the same flight that their client's on. You can always double check that by looking at the flight number. I know it was a Frontier Airlines flight, so I can always look at the flight number. What I like to do if I need to double check that is I'll go to my downloads, okay? And I know that it's this one, so I'm just gonna open it. And then I can look to see. So they're flying on Frontier 1042. So I'm glad that I did look because it's a different flight. So let me bring this down here. And let's go try to find Frontier. And again, here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and select Frontier because I know that that's the one I'm looking for. I'm not sure why it's not bringing up the other option, but if I needed to look it up separately, I could, okay? And it's not bringing that one up for some reason. So I'm just going to select this one because we're just demonstrating how to actually go about it, doing it, okay? Now, the next one is from, this is their return flight from Cancun to Atlanta. So, you know, people may not want to leave Cancun at 8 o'clock in the morning, especially when you're flying with children. So let's look at this. I like the fact that they have this Cancun leaving at 2:15 because they can simply check out of their room, take their time getting to the airport. And by the time they get there, go through customs, all of that, it'll be time to board the flight by the time they get to their gate. So that's a good one. Select that. And then it automatically selects a room for you, okay? Now, be mindful. It did not have, it did provide our transportation to and from the hotel with a complimentary upgrade to shared nonstop service. But I want to make sure that they have travel protection. So that is where the features comes into play. The first thing that will be listed under the features is the travel protection full plus, which is the full travel credit, okay? This ensures that your client comes back to you when they need to travel again. Some people give them the travel protection plus the cash refund, which is going to be more expensive, but at least at minimum, always put this one on here. Okay, so I'm going to add that. Notice that ground transportation, you also have sightseeing tours that you can look at. So if you talk to your client and they said that they want to do some excursions while they're there, you can use VAX for that, but I have actually become biased now that I'm using Travelify, and I like to use Viator and use options that they provide because they're reserve now, pay later type of options, okay, where it's not all included in the quote. So one of the other things that we can do here, say for instance, we don't like this hotel, or we do like the hotel, but it's a little bit expensive. We can come over here to hotels and see if we can get this price down. So we'll click on the hotel and we'll have a list of options here again. Now, remember, we want a beach. We want it to be all-inclusive, 4 or 5 star, and we want to sort it from lowest to highest. That way I'm going to be in the same order of that I found before. And here's the same resort. I'm going to get them in that same room, that privileged family suite. And I'm going to select. If I don't get through all of the bullet points today or on this training, I will do a part 2 so that I can get through the rest. You'll notice that the package price is a little bit more because they have an extra flight. All right, so be mindful of people that need to do multiple destinations. They have more than one flight that they have to purchase. So that means that their cost is going to be a little bit more. Usually you'll notice that the price per person is $12.51.13. Okay, but the same thing applies. Now let's take a look at some other features that I think are really helpful too. Okay, say for instance, we have a client and we want to know how much is this going to be in payout for my commission. Okay, you can always click on booking administration. That'll be right below the checkout button, and you'll see booking administration. You'll notice that this will be broken down in kind of line item. The gross amount of the trip, the amount of that, the portion of that amount that is your commission, which is highlighted right here, and then the net price of the trip, okay, excluding the commission. So say for instance, you have a client and they are difficult or whatever the case may be, or maybe you charge a service fee. Okay, you can always add that service fee in the booking administration tab, set that commission in there. Okay, once you set it, you'll notice that it'll go up by that price. Okay, maybe it's not going to allow me to because it's already at a maximum amount. Let's see. Set commission. Okay, it did at that time. I think it did at that time. Maybe not. I can't remember. Okay, so set commission. It's not allowing me to do it. That's okay. We'll just exit out. But that is how you do it. Basically, if you were going to do a flight only option and you wanted to charge a service fee because there are no commissions built into flights only, you can do that using the booking administration tool. Okay. There are some other great tools that I want to talk about. And I noticed that I was going to say that, you know, if you have an existing reservation, but let's just say, for instance, I wanted to go ahead. The client was like, look, I really want to get this hotel. What do I need to do in order to get this, you know, reserved now? Okay. I want to do the multiple destination where I fly to Orlando from Atlanta. And then we all fly to Cancun together. How do I go about getting this reserved? So what I want to do first as their agent is I want to look at the deposit due date. Unfortunately for this one, the deposit due date is scheduled for the 4th of February, which happens to be the same day as today. So I would not be able to do that for this client on this option. But let's go back and take a look for other options, okay? And this time I'm just going to do a single destination because I want you to know how to create a a reservation without taking a deposit. So maybe I have a client who's departing. Let's go back to that Orlando, going to Cancun. Okay, I'm going to select Cancun, and maybe they're going to go in at the end of July. So maybe the 20th of July. And they're going to stay for 5 nights, okay? 2 children. I think I had the thing pre-selected. If I didn't, oh well, I'll just have to reselect it, okay? I think that the reason why I'm doing it out so far is because sometimes when you have clients who are looking to lock in a rate and they're afraid of it going up, you can always, if the deposit due date is not the same day, the date of your quoting, then you can go ahead and reserve or create a reservation for the client. So just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to just go ahead and select the first place because I don't want to take up too much of your time, and nor do I want to run out of time trying to show you this. So let me just pick the options that I see are best. To next day arrival. No, I never like my clients to arrive the next day. 7 to 129, non-refundable rate. I don't like that. These non-refundable rates or changes, these are what's published to the public. I don't like the fact that they don't have any that, okay. American Airlines, that's a long layover. You don't want to get it where your clients have a long layover. This looks like a pretty good one right here. JetBlue, it's nonstop flight. Might be a little bit more expensive, but hey, it's much better than the other options where they have to get there the next day. That takes away an entire day. We're going to choose another nonstop flight. Leaving Cancun, 12 p.m. is always a good time frame, especially when you have children. All right. So I have this instant savings. Travel protection is on there. You want to kind of make sure all of the stuff that you need is on there, and then you can go to checkout. Oh, I didn't verify to make sure that this was actually, this had a due date further out. So let me check that really quickly. And what I can do is go here to email or print itinerary. Anytime you go there, you can look and see what the actual due date. And luckily for us, the due date is not until February 5th, okay? So that means that I can actually, all I'm gonna need from the client is their names, as it appears on their driver's license for the adults, and then for children under 12, just as long as it is written as it is on their birth certificate, okay? So I need the names, dates of birth, and a phone number and email address for my client, okay? When I go down here, this is the checkout bar, okay? When I go down here, you'll see basically everything that you've included, okay? The transportation to and from the resort, okay? With complimentary upgrade to shared nonstop service. The travel protection is already pre-selected. They're not getting a car, so it's not selected. Now I need to put in Joe. I'm just gonna put John Doe. Okay, for demonstration purposes. Maybe he was born on January 1st, 1979 is the first thing that came up. Male. A lot of times you can just put whatever the client info at gmail.com. Client's phone number 555-542 or 555 5555. Demonstration, okay? Then this option right here, airline contact information. Would you like to provide your customers' contact information to the airlines to alert them directly of any updates affecting their flights close to departure? And I typically select yes. I will put my client's phone number, and then I will typically put my email address, so we're both alerted. And this is if you do not have something like Travify. If you have Travify, the benefit of this is that once you put in the airline information or the flight details, it automatically does the updates in the actual system. So this is going to be Jane Doe, female, the mother. I think I put male, okay. The mother, her date of birth is March 6th, and she was born in 82, okay? Female, just naming. Notice that I didn't have to put her phone number and email address because you only need it for the head or the lead traveler, okay? The next is the child. It'll tell you specifically what the child, okay, and their age at the time of travel. And the reason it does that is because it wants you to be mindful that this information has to match up with whatever's on their government issued ID or the birth certificate. So I'll put Johnny Doe. Okay, maybe he was born, and this is where it's going to verify that the child is actually the age. So it's 2023, 11 years ago. Oh, we'll just say, I know. We'll do November 10th, 2011. Okay, we'll put male. And we'll go to the last one. The next child is 8 years old. So we'll put Janie, okay, Doe. She was born maybe August 15th. And let me see, what's 8 years from? So she was born in 2014, okay? And she's female. All right. So once I put that in, notice I can go all the way down here. Okay. I'm not going to put in any other information. Okay. You do have to click here that I've read and explained the general cancellation terms and conditions to the client. Our client has canceled for any reason travel protection, so this is never applicable to them typically, but you can go to complete booking. Okay. Once you go to the complete booking, it is going to create for you a reservation number. Now, this is important, okay, for you because they haven't paid a single dime yet. I always suggest that you take their first payment over the phone, okay? But notice how it creates us a reservation number without me taking a single payment yet, okay? That's the beauty about collecting the information from the clients and letting them know, hey, I can save this for you, but I do need X, Y, and Z, okay? I need this information, your names, dates of birth. I need an email address and a phone number for the main traveler, for the lead traveler. After you have taken their initial deposit and you have collected a credit card authorization form, this is a payment request link that you can send to your client, okay? Now, the payment request link will look something like this. I have a client who has a multiple destination trip, and you could put your client's email address here. You could put reservation payment request, and I usually put, vacation, Cancun vacation 2023, or the actual travel dates, June 8th through 13th, 2023. Hello, the client's name, and it will take, instead of putting payment is required, I'll put per your request. Here is the payment link for, and then I'll just leave the reservation for reservation and the reservation number. Oh, sorry about that. Now, this other part right here where it talks about you may qualify for uplifts, pay monthly, an easy and cost-effective option. You can leave it there for them if you prefer, but I typically will take that out as well. And then what I will do, instead of leaving my agent ID there, I will put my name, okay? Angela M, whatever you want to do, okay? Then you could preview and then you can email it to the client, okay? Now, this is also beneficial because if you want to go back and then retrieve this reservation, you can, okay? So say, for instance, you clicked out of it and you forgot, oh my God, I meant to email that to my client. You can go back to existing reservations in VAX, and you can put in the reservation number, okay? You can retrieve it that way. Another way that you can retrieve all of your reservations is by putting in your agent ID number, okay, into VAX. And you can sort by active or any booking status if you do it that way. For demonstration purposes, though, we're going to just look at it from the reservation number. And I'm going to go to retrieve reservation. And I want to do it that way for this this training because I don't want any of my clients' personal information showing, since I'm going to publish this for viewing. And now it'll bring me right back to the same reservation that I created, okay? Say, for instance, the client is ready to make that deposit payment. All I do is go scroll down to the bottom and I click add payment, okay? And then I take their information. The first thing you ask is, okay, John Doe, thank you for giving me a call today. What card are you going to be using to pay for this deposit? He'll tell you the type of card, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, whatever it is. Take the card number, always verify the card number, expiration date, and then the security code. Notice it's going to auto-populate the deposit amount here. You will also need to get the billing address, city, state, and zip code for that client, for that credit card, okay? After you do that, you can enter any comments that you want to. That's for your own reading. And then you have to click this, required to complete booking. You'll have to check this, and then you can click add payment for it to add payment. But another great feature about this, say, for instance, they got another family that want to do the same thing because this is a family reunion. I can literally go and copy this reservation. And maybe it's just going to be 2 adults who are traveling. They don't have any children. I can copy the reservation with the same flights and everything without having to go in to VAX and search for it all over again. I can click copy reservation. I modified it to put the number of adults and number of children, everything like that. And then what's going to happen is, what you're going to see is, voila, it's going to have a new reservation, or a new itinerary at least, that I can create for 2 adults with the same flights, same hotel, same everything, okay? Same pathway and everything, all right? So I'm not really sure why it's got the non-refundable rate here, but whatever. Okay, that's just to show you that you can do that. And of course, you can go to checkout. You can look at the deposit due date for them. Say, for instance, theirs is also, well, theirs is due on the 4th. Funny. Okay, and that's because they have non-refundable rates here. And we can change those outbound flights. You can always change the flight. Say, for instance, your client is like, we're looking for a flight that's a little bit later in the day. And you'll get those clients. I just had one earlier today. Can you find us later flights or earlier flights, whatever the case may be? And again, you can come over here and you can look for the departure times. And then I can look for non-stops. I can search by whatever. So I'm going to search. Here's the one that I want. And I don't want the non-refundable changes, upgrades. I want the one underneath it. Because the basic economy are the ones that are printed for everybody else. Now let me go to email and print and see if this is allowed. Oh, see, now the date is updated, okay? The date is now updated. And now that I know that I have the 5th, before they can have to pay the deposit, I can do the same exact thing as go ahead and secure their booking as well, okay? Now, obviously, it's not secure until the deposit is paid, because if the deposit is not paid by the due date, the system will simply cancel it, or it will be terminated from the system, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. We also have the feature of price match. Say, for instance, your client has found a trip. You find the same exact location, dates, and everything with flights, the same flights and everything, okay? Everything has to be apples to apples. They can't have a basic economy flight and compare it to a economy flight that you were able to get them, because those are not apples to apples. That's apples to applesauce, okay? So you can go to the price match chat. If everything is the same, and I typically don't do the price match chat. I typically, after I have gone and created a reservation, then I will go in there, but I realize they have a chat. That's interesting, okay? It's saying authentication failed, so it probably doesn't work. But what you can do is, for that reservation that you have, you can go back to that existing reservation. I don't know if I still have, okay, good. I'm going to retrieve the existing reservation I already had. And I'm going to show you how you can do a price match request in VAX really quickly. Remember, this is a deep dive into VAX. And so since we have a few minutes, since I'm assuming we have a few minutes, since I haven't gotten a notification that our meeting is almost over, I'm going to go ahead and show you this. So that's the price match chat, but on the actual reservation, after you have taken the client's reservation information to create a reservation, you have about 24 hours to submit a price match request so that you can get it for the same price that the client found it for. This typically works best when a client has found a hotel and you're doing a quote for a hotel only. But if they have a flight and a hotel, you can do a price match as long as the flight is the same type of flight in the same grade of flight that you are pricing on yours. So just be mindful, if it's not apples to apples, they will decline and decline your or deny your request for a price match. You simply click on this. It says, please send an email to the email address listed below, include the reservation number and screenshot of the competitor price. Screenshot should include all vacation components, including but not limited to the hotel details, including the room type, air details such as fare type and class of service, and a date and timestamp from the competitor. So that means they can't have a price that was from 3 years ago, okay? And think that they're gonna use that to try to get those same rates. They have to actually take a screenshot as if they went all the way to the end to make the payment with all the fees and everything being in there, okay? So all components must be like to be considered for a price match. You will receive a response within 3 business hours. So that's the email address. I have had to do these, and luckily I advocated and we got a price match approved. So it does work as long as you are doing apples to apples, okay? So I think that I've covered a lot of things on VAX today. Oh, one other thing that I want to cover. And this is group trips and how to, like, if you have a group who's going to need anywhere from 5 to 10 rooms, you can go over here, go back to VAX main page, okay? And then you select groups, top right. And then basically you want to go and scroll down, okay? If you already have a group and you need to retrieve them, you can put in the group ID number here, okay? But if you are looking to get a group rate code, promotional code, whichever vendor or supplier that you are using, you can go in and you can request a form, okay? You can submit a request form. When you click on that request form, it will look like this. And we're not doing a contracted group. We want to do a flexible group, okay? And we're going to select, again, FunJet Vacations. And then it's going to bring up something that looks like this. Let me change it to flexible groups. All right. You want to get from your client the group that a name for the group that they want to create, okay? So their group name, and I'm just going to say ABC Championship Team, whatever the case may be. The destination that they're going to, okay? Maybe they're going to Cancun. You can literally start typing in and it'll bring up the things there. Maybe this is for an anniversary or vow renewal. Maybe this is a corporate meeting or some type of incentive. Or maybe they're doing a social, like a family reunion or something like that. Maybe it's spring break for some college students. Whatever the case may be, maybe it's a wedding. Whatever the occasion is, make sure you try to get something that is as close to the occasion as possible, okay? It will ask for the occasion date, but notice it doesn't have an asterisk there, so it is not required. You do, however, need a departure date and the length of their stay, number of rooms that they need, and then their hotel choice. So this is after you've kind of gone through the options and quoted the client some options. Notice that groups of 5 rooms or more that are looking to book immediately with guest names and payment may be a match for group E's, okay? So you only need 5 rooms for this type of group, okay? The number of rooms you need, the hotel choice they have, and then you want to put the person who is the lead, team lead, the leader of the group per se, their first and last name, and then any additional options. Maybe you may need 2 additional rooms. The client is unsure whether additional family members may come, may need 2 to 5 additional rooms, whatever the case may be. You can put those instructions right here and then you'll hit submit, okay? Another way to do this is to go directly through. I'm just going to go back here. You can also call them. Okay, their phone number will be listed here. I literally have VAX numbers saved in my phone because I talk to them quite often if I need to, okay? Or you can email contracted teams, like any contracted teams, go there. For Group E's teams, that's the flexible group. You can email them at Group E's, okay? And if you need to learn more about booking group travel with FunJet, they have a link for you to view that page, all right? So I think that's going to do it for today. Let me go back and just see if I covered everything. I showed you how to locate the different suppliers and kind of what they're used for. I showed you about multi-destination planning. I showed you how to make a reservation before the client has paid a deposit. I showed you how to utilize the booking administration feature. I showed you how to access and send the payment link to your client. And I also showed you how to save, retrieve, and email and print the itinerary for the client. I hope that this training was beneficial to you. Again, thank you for joining. This was a VAX Deep Dive presented by Angela Martin, a Gold Consultant with Archer Travel. You all have a fabulous day.